So what does it take to become a legend? I mean, not just once, but over and over and over again. Today, we're going to break down the blueprint of a man who did exactly that, Arnold Schwarzenegger. From bodybuilding champion to Hollywood icon to the governor of California, his entire path was built on a few simple but really powerful rules.
Just think about that journey for a second. From a tiny village in Austria to Mr. Universe to the highest paid movie star on the planet, and then, to the governor of California. I mean, how is a life like that even possible? Well, according to Arnold, it's not magic, and it's not luck. It's a plan.
Yeah, he's adamant that none of this happened by accident. It all came from a very detailed blueprint he had for his life. So let's dive in and break down the 2 core rules that made everything else possible.
All right, so first up, and this is the big one according to Arnold, rule number 1, you have to find your vision. And this isn't about daydreaming, okay? This is about having a crystal clear destination in mind.
As Arnold himself puts it, without that vision, you just drift around and you never end up anywhere. That goal, that's your compass. It gives every single thing you do a direction, a purpose. And for him, this wasn't some late-in-life discovery. He figured this out really, really early. Picture it. You're growing up in post-war Austria. Times are tough. Options are limited. Arnold felt totally trapped. He just knew, deep down, he wasn't meant to follow the path everyone expected, being a farmer or a factory worker. So for him, his vision wasn't just some lofty goal. It was an escape route.
And here's how that feeling turned into an actual plan. It all started with a documentary he saw about America that planted the seed. Then he stumbles upon a bodybuilding magazine with this guy, Reg Park, on the cover. And just like that, boom, the blueprint was clear. Step 1, become the greatest bodybuilder in the world. Step 2, use that fame to get into movies. Step 3, become rich and famous. And get this, by the time he was just 20 years old, he'd already done step 1. He was the youngest Mr. Universe in history. The blueprint wasn't just a fantasy, it was actually working.
And this is absolutely crucial. Having that clear vision, it changed everything for him. Think about it. 6 hours a day of grueling, painful workouts. For most people, that's torture. But for him, he said it was a pleasure. A pleasure. Why? Because every single rep, every set had a purpose.
He literally couldn't wait to get under the bar for another 500-pound squat. He would smile through the pain because he knew that lift wasn't just about weight. It was building his Mr. Universe title. It was forging his ticket to America. That is the power of purpose.
So that's what happens when you have a vision. It's powerful stuff. But what happens when you don't? Well, Arnold points to a pretty stark reality for a lot of people.
He brings up this wild statistic. Nearly 3/4, that's 3 out of every 4 people in America, hate their job. That is the exact definition of drifting. Just taking a job to have a job with no connection to a larger vision. It turns work into a chore. And it just proves that having a clear purpose isn't some luxury. It is absolutely essential.
Okay, so you've got your vision. You know where you're going. But what happens when the whole world tells you it's impossible? And that's where rule number 2 comes in. Don't listen to the naysayers.
Now this is where Arnold's mindset is like a superpower. He basically built this internal translator for negativity. So when someone would tell him, that's impossible, his brain would just automatically hear, oh, so it can be done. It just hasn't been done yet.
When he heard the word no, his mind just registered it as yes. He worked from this really simple principle. Everything is impossible until someone does it. And he just decided he was going to be that someone.
And man, this mindset was put to the ultimate test in Hollywood. I mean, can you imagine? He walks into these agents' offices, and they practically laugh him out of the room. They told him everything was wrong with him. His body was too big, it was weird, his Austrian accent was so thick, they said there was no way he could ever be a leading man. It was just a brick wall of no.
But this is the incredible part. He didn't try to change himself to fit in. Instead, he forced Hollywood to make a space for him. That body they called overdeveloped? Well, it turned out to be the only body on the planet that could play Conan the Barbarian. And that thick accent they called a liability? It became the unforgettable robotic voice of the Terminator.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The director of Conan famously said that if Arnold hadn't existed, they would have had to literally build one. His biggest supposed liability had become his #1 asset.
And James Cameron, the guy who directed The Terminator, he said the exact same thing about his accent. It's what made the character work. The very things the naysayers told him would hold him back became the absolute cornerstones of his legendary career. all because he just refused to listen.
So there you have it. That's Arnold's blueprint. It's an incredible story for sure. But the real question is, how do you apply it to your own life? How can you use these same rules to build your own success?
Well, it really just boils down to this two-step blueprint. First, define your vision. Really know your destination with total clarity, so that every single thing you do has a real purpose. And two, reframe the no. You have to train your brain to hear all that negativity not as a stop sign, but as pure fuel. See it as a challenge to go out and prove everyone wrong.
At the end of the day, a blueprint is just a piece of paper, right? You still have to do the work. You have to lay the foundation and build the walls one brick at a time. So I'll leave you with this. What's your first step?